This year's theme so far is certainly about honoring myself, and it's understanding when I began to dishonor myself. And there's been so many times over the years that I've been asked to reflect and consider, why am I where I am and what excuses am I making? And I always just felt so stuck. I felt so stuck by external circumstances. And what I'm really having to do now is to go back and realize that because of very bad programming, because of not having any guidance as a young person, I did my best and I did what I knew. I did what came naturally, most comfortably. I did what I had seen done, what I had an example of. And I convinced myself that my job was to do it better, to do what I had seen done, but do it better. And so, as a 20-year-old girl who had been suddenly uprooted at 19 unexpectedly and asked to be an adult without a lot of instructions, I was terrified. And I set out looking for the answers. And I just was too afraid of the ones I found. The answers in my heart were go do something new, break the mold, be unexpected. Don't listen to what everybody else has to say. Do what makes sense to you, even if it doesn't make sense to anyone else. I was too afraid to do that. And so my version of that was very fucking messy. And it involved 3 car accidents that happened within 6 weeks. And it involved about a 12-month span that when I look back on it, I'm not sure how I survived. And I remember very clearly sitting myself down and saying, if this is what you're going to do, you're not going to survive it. So, what are you going to do? I did what most people do. I tended toward the familiar. I'm going to have to let her in because she's not going to stop. She's very insistent. Come in, friend. I did what most people do. I stuck to the familiar path. I looked at my 20-year-old self in the mirror and I thought to myself, you either need to do something different or you're going to die. And so I did what I knew how to do. I started to fall in line. I started to do what everybody told me I should be doing if I wasn't going to go to college and do the things that they said I should be doing. And so I got a job and a car and a boyfriend. and I fell in love, and I started to build this forever. And I got pregnant, and I started to try to give my family everything that my family never gave me. And I gave, and I gave, and I gave, and I gave, and I gave. And on the outside looking in, it was beautiful. But I just didn't feel like I was doing it right. No matter how good, it was never good enough. I just felt this pull to do more, to be more, to raise the standard, to I was looking for an answer. The answer was I created an experience that did not align with me. I created an experience that I wasn't ready for yet. I needed to go out into the world and figure out myself, so that when I decided to create this family, I would be whole already, or at least at a place where I was ready to hold space for my family, to help guide my daughter in a more healthy way, because I had discovered those answers for myself. You can only give away what's inside of you. Well, at 20, I decided I knew enough. And, based on the fact that my parents were 14 and 17, 20 felt pretty mature to me. And, so like I said, I got the job, and I got the car, and I got the boyfriend, and we got the place to live, and I got pregnant, and we got married, and we did our very best. What we realized about 10 years in is that we missed out on our 20s. That part of life where you figure out who you are. We were busy creating a family, doing the things that you have to do to keep a family together. And when you never had a healthy example of that, and you're trying to be a healthy example of that, the challenges are many, and the days are long and exhausting, and you are mentally and physically and emotionally drained. Add the fact that both you and your spouse are neurodivergent, and that you both are trauma survivors, and you are the most adultiest adults you know, that aren't so judgmental and so hurtful that you can't listen to their advice. And so you cling to each other even when you know it's not healthy. And you do your best to do what you set out to do, and life happens and it kicks your ass, and you don't know what to do with that either. And eventually, one day, because it has to, the wheels fall off. And you realize that you're no longer even faking it well. And you realize that you invested a lot in something that just was never meant to work out. And then you take a step back and you start to look at the reality of it. And you realize that you created an entire life because you were running from your calling, from getting to know who you were, from yourself. And in doing that, you hurt yourself. And you hurt every person you ever set out to love. And that's heartbreaking. So, that's the first part of it. It's just recognizing it, seeing it, just looking at it in its face and going, I did that. I fucking did that. And I see why I did it. Makes perfect sense. Doesn't make it hurt any less. Doesn't change it in any way. But I get it. And I want to do it differently from here on out. And what is that going to look like? And what is my work to do? And how do I unwind this? How do I get back to square one, to honoring myself? Well, what I'm finding is there's some healing to be done first. And that, yes, my childhood created a lot of scars. And it was in not knowing how to heal these scars, or not being willing to step into the unknown, not willing to be able to face the truth of some of my trauma. I recreated that very trauma for myself as an adult. I became my own abuser. And in abusing myself, I caused others to suffer. And that abuse bled out onto them. And it caused them to suffer. The very things that I never wanted. And all because I didn't take the time to figure it out. Didn't know how. I do now. Maybe not perfectly. Maybe not exactly. I don't have any step-by-step formula of what I'm going to do or what the right decision or wrong decision is. What I have learned is to honor myself in each present moment. To listen when my heart says no. And to move when my heart says go. To rest when my body is tired. And to eat when I'm hungry. And to enjoy the food that I eat. And to rest in a comfortable place. And to wrap myself in the things that I love. Whether that's a soft blanket, or an upbeat song, or sunshine. I'm learning it's not as hard as I thought, and it's not as scary as I thought. The hard part is the guilt for not doing this 25 years ago. And I know we all face that, and I know it's one of those things, and that it's through doing the things now that I should have done then. Honoring myself, honoring the people in my life, letting my yeses be yeses, my noes be noes, letting myself be excited about the things that I invest my energy in, and to step away from the things that are not exciting. To speak honestly and truthfully, and to be very direct, and let people do with that what they will, without feeling guilty about it. It's about letting go of the need to fit in, or to force myself to fit in. But to realize that if I just trust and put one foot in front of the other, I'm gonna fit in just fine wherever I find myself. I always do. Trust. Something I could not find in myself 26 years ago. I thought I needed a blueprint. In the words of my favorite Disney princess, it's into the unknown. I'm ready. Finally ready.